Put your hands together and give God a great big praise. He is standing, and I want you to turn your Bibles to the gospel as recorded by St. Matthew, chapter 12, and then I want you to go down to verse 9. That is St. Matthew, chapter 12, and I want you to go to verse 9 of that chapter. St. Matthew, chapter 12, and then I want you to go to verse 9. Amen. St. Matthew chapter 12, and I want you to go to verse 9. I'm reading from a different translation than the King James Version, which is different, but it says the same thing. That is St. Matthew chapter 12, verse 9. You have it where you say amen? Amen. The word of God says, moving from there, he entered into their synagogue. There he saw a man who had a shriveled hand. And in order to accuse him, they asked him, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? He replied to them, who among you, if he had a sheep that fell into a pit on the Sabbath, wouldn't take hold of it and lift it out? A person is worth far more than a sheep. So it is lawful to do what is good on the Sabbath. Then he told the man, stretch out your hand. So he stretched it out, and it was restored as good as the other. But the Pharisees went out and plotted against him how they might kill him. Thus is the reading of the word of God. You may have your seats. I cannot take a world and hold it in my hand. I cannot take a piece of clay and mold it into man. I cannot count the stars above or count the grains of sand, but I have a Father. I have a Father who hold it in my hand. I cannot count the stars above or count the grains of sand. I cannot hold humanity in the palm of my hand. But I have a Father, I have a Father who can. He sits high, and looks low. He guides my feet wherever I go. When I don't understand, I have a Father who can. Oh, he sits high and looks low. of worship. Thank you that we're in your hand, and no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Bless us through your word, Lord. Give us insight and revelation. Give your people a receiving spirit. Get the glory out of what we do and what we say. Thank you for who you are. Thank you that we belong to you. God, we're in your hand. Use us in your service. Lord, I pray for your people to have receiving spirits. I pray that somebody will be saved on today. Somebody will be born again. Somebody will believe in you. Touch my mind, touch my voice, touch my body. Help me to preach. Help your people to have hearing ears. And God, thank you for all you've done and all that you will do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Can you put your hands together and give God praise? And you may have your seats. From those verses I read in your hearing, I want to talk about the man with the shriveled hand. The man with the shriveled hand. Brothers and sisters, when I look at this word, it reminds me that it does not matter how bad a situation is in your life. It doesn't matter how deformed it is. It doesn't matter how messed up it is, that it is never too messed up for Jesus. This passage allows me to see that God can take a messed up situation and turn it around and make it into a miracle in your life. Brothers and sisters, I believe that the things that are impossible with man is possible with God. I've stopped by to tell you on this morning, there's nothing that God can't do. There is no situation that he cannot fix. There is no issue he cannot bring you out of. There's nothing that can go on in your life that he cannot turn it around. And there are many of us in this room today can testify that we've been in messed up situations. And our families, our friends, our neighbors counted us out. But they didn't know that we serve a God that specializes in messy situations. He specializes in taking the worst situations and turning it around so God can get the glory out of our situation. I submit to you, brothers and sisters, when you know where you come from, when you know what you've been in, and when you know how bad your situation has been, but when you know that God brought you out, that God made a way for you, that God lifted you out of it, you ought to not act like God didn't do anything, but you ought to give God some glory, and you ought to tell God, I thank you for what you've done in my life. Brothers and sisters, I submit to you on this morning that we have a Savior that can do what our friends can't do. We have a Savior that can do what our money cannot do. We have a Savior that can do what mama cannot do. I tell you, if you can get your situation to Jesus, he will work it out for your good. If you can get it to Jesus, he will fix it for you. If you can get it to Jesus, he will make you better than you've ever been in your life. I wonder this morning, did anybody show up because you want to give to Jesus? Did anybody here show up because if you ever needed the Lord before, you sure need him now? I wonder, did anybody here show up because you got enough faith, you got mustard seed faith to know that he can fix it for you, that he can turn it around, that he can bring you out, that he can give you joy, unspeakable joy, that he can give you a miracle in the midst of a mess. He can let you know that what the enemy meant for evil, God has already worked it out for your good. I mean, is there anybody here know that God can work some stuff out? Is there anybody here know that God can turn it around? Is there anybody here know that he may not come when you want him to come, but he will always be there at the right time, and at the right time he'll bring you through. At the right time he'll give you joy, unspeakable joy. At the right time he'll put a smile on your face. At the right time he'll let you know that do is yet to come. So when we look at this word this morning, what we discover is that Jesus goes to the synagogue again. And that was important to me, because Jesus went to church. And evidently he thought church attendance was very important, because even though he's the Savior of the world, even though he has all power in his hand, even though he can do anything but fail, Jesus found himself in church. Well, I agree with David when he said, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go to the house of the Lord. In my youth as a boy, I used to hear them saying, I'm glad to be in the number one more time. Well, I wonder this morning, is there anybody here glad to be in the number one more time? I like the way they said that I could have been dead, sleeping in my grave, but I'm glad to be in the number one more time. Just to pray together, just to sing together, just to shout together, just to fellowship together. I'm glad to be in the number one more time. I wonder, can you look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm glad to be in the number one more time. Jesus goes to the synagogue. There he saw a man with a shriveled hand. You know, when I look at this brother, I see something here, that he's in the right place at the right time. Oh, somebody ought to help me. You ought not to miss church, because when you miss church, you miss your blessing. Am I right about it? You ought not to miss church, because you don't know what Jesus is going to do in your life. You don't know what Jesus is going to do in your family's life. You don't know how Jesus is going to make you out. You don't know the blessing that he's got for your life. So you ought to make sure that you're in the right place at the right time. You ought to be sure that you're in the house of the Lord. David says, forsake not to assemble yourselves together. Some folk don't like to go to church. I've heard folks say it all the time, especially those who are in my age group. See, because y'all know we went to church all day long. You showed up to Sunday school. After Sunday school, you went to church. Then if your mama had some money, you went out to Morrison at 8. I wish I had some. And then you came back home, and then you went to BTU. And then after BTU, you went to evening service. We was in church all day. Now that kept a whole lot of us out of trouble. Some of us didn't go to jail because we were in church all day Sunday. And so, Sister Ivy, when some of my friends got grown, the first thing they said, I ain't going to spend all day in nobody's church. But you know how jacked up that is? How God kept you. And you ain't gonna come and spend no time with God. How God made a way for you, and you ain't gonna spend no time with God. How God put food on your table, clothes on your back. How God put money in your pocket. How God kept you in good health, and you ain't gonna spend no time in God's house. You ought to be shaming yourself. You ought to go to church, and you ought to give God some praise, and you ought to glorify God, and you ought to lift God up, because God has been good. Am I right about it? Is there a few people in here that can hold your hand up and say, God has been good? Jesus goes to the synagogue, and he encounters a man with a shriveled hand. Somehow or another, he was in an accident. Some scholars say that he was born like that. But whatever the situation was, he's in the right place at the right time, because it does not matter how bad his situation is, it's never too bad for Jesus. And you know, for every blessing, there's always some critics. Well, am I right about it? Listen to this. And in order to accuse him, they asked him, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? Amen. Now listen, that's messed up. Because if anybody should want folk to be healed, it ought to be church folk. Oh, come on, y'all. If anybody should want to see people blessed, church folk ought to want to see people blessed, people healed, people delivered, homes blessed, young people blessed, old people blessed. If anybody, but you know what I just said? Not y'all. Let me get that straight. But other folk, they want it all for themselves. They got a special seat. I heard this story about this man went to church and he messed around and sat in the wrong seat. The lady walks up to him and say, "That's my seat. And you better get out of my seat." And so the usher told him, "So you better get out because you might get beat down." So, listen, some folk want it all for themselves. But you know what? You can't have it your way. You can't have it all for yourself. Sometimes God want to bless somebody else. Amen. 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 They watched him so that they could accuse him. See, some folk don't come to church for the right reason. Some folk come to church for all the wrong reasons. And they wonder why they ain't blessed. Because you ain't come for the right reason. Let me poll the house. How many of y'all showed up for a blessing? Let me take it a step forward. How many of y'all showed up because you want to give God some praise? How many of y'all showed up because you ain't thinking about what the person got on next to you? You ain't thinking about somebody else's hairdo. You ain't thinking about the kind of dress somebody else has got. How many of y'all can testify? I showed up because when I think about the goodness of the Lord and all he's done for me, my soul cries out, hallelujah. I thank God for saving me. Anybody glad you're saved? They watched him. They wanted to get something on him to accuse him. So they asked him, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath day? So what? Listen. So this is what Jesus did. Jesus turns it back on them. I wish I had some help. He replied to them, "Who among you, if he has a sheep and the sheep falls into the pit on the Sabbath, would take hold of it and lift it up? A person is worth more than a sheep. So it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath day." Jesus says it don't matter what day it is. I don't care what day it is. I'll heal you right now. I'll make a way for you right now. Isn't it good to know Jesus ain't got no special day that he'll heal you? I don't care what your issue is, he'll bless it right now. I don't care how much your back is against the wall, he'll show up in your life right now and he'll bring you out of your situation. I don't care how messed up your life is, he'll give you joy, he'll give you peace, he'll give you happiness, and he'll do it right now. How many of y'all can celebrate the fact that we serve a right now God? Our foreparents had it right. He may not come when you want him to come, but he will show up at the right time. And I want you to know, brothers and sisters, he'll show up in your house. He'll show up on your job. He'll show up in your relationship. He'll show up in your family. And he'll show up and he'll bring you out. He'll make it all right. He'll make it better. He'll lift you up. He'll wipe tears from your eyes. He'll put a smile on your face. He'll remind I'll show you. See, another thing that jumped out at me there is that you know, some folk try to put limits on the Lord. Well, but you be careful about limiting God. See, you can't put no limits on my God, because he is the Alpha and the Omega. Before there was a wind or well, he was already there. You can't limit God, because he's so great and he's so awesome until he took nothing and then put it in his hand, and then took nothing and made it into something, and then took it and flung it out in the sky and made a world. If God can do all of that, he can bless your life. If God can do all of that, he can bless your family. If God can do all of that, he can put money in your pocket. If God can do all of that, he can promote you on your job. If God can do all of that, he can help you go to college. If God can do all of that, he can bless you coming in. He can bless you coming in. But whatever you do, help me, Holy Ghost, don't you put limits on God. Am I right about it? Can you look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, don't you limit God? That was the wrong neighbor. Turn to another neighbor and say, neighbor, don't you limit God. In fact, y'all not just wait till the blessing comes. While you're in church, you're already here. I mean, you ought not just waste your time. Since you're here, you ought to give God some praise. Since you're here, you ought to tell God thank you for what you've done for me. You ought to tell God thank you that you brought me out. You ought to tell God thank you that you're blessing me right now. You ought to say, God, thank you for where you brought me from. Thank you for how you healed my body. Thank you for how you healed my mind. Thank you for how you healed my finances. Thank you for how you healed my family. You ought to hold your hand up all over this building and say, God, I got a whole lot to be thankful for. I wonder, can you look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I don't look like what I've gone through. And because I don't look like what I've gone through, I got praise on the inside. Oh, bless his holy name. Oh, thank you, Holy Ghost. So the text says, then after Jesus goes through this dialogue about the Sabbath, and wanted these Pharisees and these scribes to know that every day is the Lord's day, and every day that you live, you ought to be trying to do something positive and something good for the kingdom of God. Am I right about it? And Jesus says, then he told the man, stretch out your hand. Now this is what I see here. I see the results of obedience. I see the blessing of obedience. I've heard it all my life. Folk want to know, how can I be blessed? Don't steal my thunder. How can I tell you? I'll try to buy it. I'll try to buy it. I'll write to somebody, and I'll tell them to send me a bottle of oil, and that's how I'll get my blessing. No, it ain't gonna work like that. Oh, I tell you what, Pastor, I'll bring I'll go into my closet and I get a bath cloth, and then I'll bring it to you. And then I ask you to bless it. Listen, I ain't gonna set you up. After you bring it to me and I pray over it, you still gonna have some issues. Amen. But now, if you really want to get blessed, do what God said do. Am I right about it? I mean, that ain't difficult, that ain't hard. Just do it God's way. And whenever you do it God's way, he'll put a blessing in your life. Anybody believe that God is still in the blessing business? Let me ask you a question. Are there any blessed folk in here? I on a serious note, is there anybody in here that's not scared to admit that the Lord is blessing me right now? That the Lord is taking care of me right now? That the Lord is opening doors for me right now? That the Lord is lifting me up right now? Is there anybody that can hold your hand up and say, the Lord is blessing me? You know, you ought to hold your head up, you ought to hold your head back, and you ought to give God some praise. You ought to tell God thank you for what you're doing in my life. He tells the man to stretch out your hand. Listen to this. So he stretched it out. Am I right about it? Listen, obedience is always better than sacrifice. Oh, I know sometimes, when the Lord say, do this, and then, sometimes instead of looking through the eyes of faith, we look through the eyes of flesh. How am I going to do this? How I'm gonna do that? But don't you know God knows more than you know? I believe this. God will never put more on you than you can bear. If God said it, you ought to have enough faith to do it. If God says walk through the door, don't be trying to figure out what you're going to do on the other side of the door. Don't try to figure out about, am I qualified to be on the other side of the door? If God said do it, you put one foot in front of the other foot and you walk in faith, that you walk in trust in God. And is there anybody in here can testify that God will keep you, that God will bless you when you obey God, that God will open the floodgates of heaven and he'll put a blessing in your life that you don't have room to receive. So you stretch it out. And listen what the Bible says. It says, and it was restored as good as the other. Well, oh, bless his holy name. When God restores you, he ain't gonna do it halfway. Well, anybody gonna talk with me? When God heals you, he ain't gonna halfway heal. Oh, somebody ought to holler. When God opens the door, he ain't gonna crack the door. When God, whatever God does in your life, he's gonna do it in completeness. And I come to tell you, when this man, I just believe, when this man looked at his hand, when he thought about how he was treated in his past, when he thought about how folk shunned him because his hands was deformed and his hand was messed up, when he thought about when he came to the synagogue, he had to sit in the back of the synagogue because his hand was deformed. But now when he looks at his hand, he recognizes that old things have passed away. And then behold, all things are become new. Well, there ought to be somebody in this room on this morning that don't mind testifying that can't nobody bless you like Jesus, that can't nobody open a door like Jesus. There ought to be somebody in this room that can stand upon your feet and hold your hand up and say it ain't no secret what the Lord can do, what he's done for others, he will do for you. Can I get a witness? And I stop by St. John to tell you this morning that it does not matter how bad your situation is. It does not matter how scribbled it is. didn't just get to Jesus. I come to tell you he will lay his hand on it. He will turn it around. Is there anybody here can wave your hand and say, I've been blessed because of Jesus. I'm healed because of Jesus. I got money in my pocket because of Jesus. I got food on my table because of Jesus. Can I get a witness? And I'm glad that when Jesus pronounced a blessing on your life, nobody, wish I had some help. I said nobody can unbless you. When the Lord opens a door, nobody can close that door. And I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I thank the Lord for where he brought me from. I thank the Lord for he keeps me from hurt, harm, and danger. Is there anybody here can hold your hand up and say, I'm alive because of the Lord? Can anybody here turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, if you only knew the hell I've been through, if you only knew how folk talked about me, if you only knew how folk rejected me, if you only knew the tears I've shed, then you'll understand why I give him praise. You'll understand why I'm excited. You'll understand why I give him glory. And I don't know how y'all feel about it, but when I think about God's goodness, and I wish I had me a witness. I said, he done for me. My soul cries out, hallelujah. Anybody here got a hallelujah? Anybody here got a praise? Can anybody here say you don't know like I know what the Lord done for me? You don't know how the Lord healed my body. You don't know how the Lord props me up on every leaning side. If there anybody here can wave your hand and say, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord been good to me. Has he been good to you? Has he been good to you? Won't he make a way? Won't he make a way? Won't he be a healer? Won't he be a doctor? Won't he help you? Won't he, won't he? Won't he, won't he? Won't he, won't he? Say yeah! Say yeah! Ah, yeah! Won't he do it? Won't he do it? He walked with me. Hallelujah. He talks with me. Thank you, Jesus. He tells me that I turn his own. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Have you tried it? Have you tried it? Say yeah! Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I've been messed up, but thank you, Jesus. I got a testimony. He'll take a mess and make it into a miracle. It ain't no secret. Oh, what God can do. Deacons, will you come? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I don't care what your situation looks like. I don't care how shriveled it is, how deformed it is. If you can get to Jesus and just have some faith, He'll restore it. And He'll restore you. And He'll make you better than you've ever been. I don't care what area of your life is. I don't care how broken it is. Jesus can put it back together. Dr. Newman said this, and I just loved it. He talked about how Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. And how Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And nobody could put the pieces. Nobody could restore him. But you know what? I'm glad Jesus ain't like this. He knows where all the pieces are in your life. And if you just trust him, he'll put it back together again. And let me tell you this, if you open the doors of the church, now somebody need to join this church today. Let me tell you this. When you put your life back together again, don't you just be standing there like he hadn't done nothing. That you always been like you are. But you give him some praise. Let me say it again. You give him some praise. You tell him thank you for what you've done. And at 6 o'clock, sing a song of invitation. And we open the doors of the church. We want to extend an invitation to you to come and be a part of this house by faith. The word of God says that they hear my voice. Harden not your heart. If you just come to Jesus, he'll bless your life. And maybe you're already saved. You just need to be connected to a Bible preaching, Bible teaching congregation. This is all of that and more. Will you just come right now at 6 o'clock, sing a song of invitation? Will you come? Will you come right now? Thank you, Lord. Will you come right now?
All that you accomplished.
Will you come?
Thank
you, Lord. Hallelujah.
You don't have to stay.
Say it.
In the shade that you're in.
Hallelujah.
The Father wants
Hallelujah.
to put you back together.
Can you just wave your hand if you receive that? If you receive it, can you wave your hand? Hallelujah. To put you. Why don't you come right now? Come on, come on.
In case you have thought.
Will you come on today?
By the wayside of life.
Will you come?
All that you've accomplished.
The Lord is waiting on you.
Now on the ground.
Will you come on today?
Oh, you don't have to stay.
Oh, yeah.
In the shade that you're in.
Thank you, Lord.
God wants to put you together.
How many of y'all believe that? How many of you believe that? How many of you believe that?
God wants to put you back
Together.
together again. You who
your hands together and give